Hare Krishna. Today we will be discussing chapter 8 of Bhagavad-Gita, text 16, translation. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes the birth again. All kinds of yogis, karma, jnana, hatha, etc. eventually have to attain devotional perfection in Bhakti Yoga or Krishna Consciousness. Therefore, they can go to Krishna transcendental abode and never return. Those who attain the highest material planets or the planets of the demigods are again subject to the repeated birth and death. As persons on earth are elevated to higher planets, people in higher planets such as Brahmaloka, Chandraloka and Indraloka fall down to earth. The practice of sacrifice called Panchagni Vidya, recommended in Katha Upanishad, enables one to achieve Brahmaloka. But if in Brahmaloka one does not cultivate Krishna consciousness, then he must return to earth. Those who progress in Krishna consciousness is the higher planets are gradually elevated to higher and higher planets, and at the time of universal devastation are transformed to the eternal spiritual kingdom. When there is devastation of this material universe, Brahma and his devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires. Text 17 translation. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together in the duration of Brahma's one day. And such also is the duration of his night. The duration of the material universe is limited. It is manifested in cycles of kalpas. A kalpa is the day of Brahma, and one day of Brahma consists of 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas or ages: Satya, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. The cycle of Satya Yuga is characterized by virtue, wisdom and religion, there being practically no ignorance and vice, and the Yuga lasts about 17,28,000 years. In the Treta Yuga, vice is introduced and the Yuga lasts about 12,96,000 years. In the Dwapara Yuga, there is an ever greater decline in virtue and religion, vice increasing, and this Yuga lasts about 8,64,000 years. And finally, in Kali Yuga, the Yuga we have now been experiencing over the past 5,000 years, there is an abundance of strife, ignorance, irreligion, and vice, true virtue being practically non-existence, and this Yuga lasts about 4,32,000 years, for which 5,000 years is being passed. In Kali Yuga, vice increases to such a point that at the termination of the Yuga, the Supreme Lord himself appears as a Kalki Avatara, vanquishes the demons, saves his devotees, and commences another Satya Yuga. Then the process is set rolling again. These 4 yugas rotating 1,000 times comprise one day of a Brahma, the creator God, and the same number comprise one night. Brahma lives 100 of such years and then dies. These 100 years by earth calculation total to 311 trillion and 40 million earth years. By this calculation, the life of Brahma seems fantastic and interminable, but from the viewpoint of eternity, it is as brief as lightning flash. In the casual ocean, there are innumerable Brahmas rising and disappearing like bubbles in Atlantic. Brahma and his creation are all part of the material universe, and therefore they are in constant flux. In the material universe, not even Brahma is free from the process of birth, old age, disease and death. Brahma, however, is directly engaged in the service of Supreme Lord, in management of this universe, therefore he at once attains liberation. Elevated sannyasis are promoted to Brahma particular planet, Brahmaloka, which is the highest planet in the material universe, and which survives all the heavenly planets in the upper stha of planetary systems. But in due course, Brahma and all inhabitants of Brahmaloka are subject to death according to the law of material nature. Text 18 translation. When Brahma's day is manifest, this multitude of living entities comes into being, and at the arrival of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated. The less intelligent jivas try to remain within this material world and are accordingly elevated and degraded in the varieties of planetary systems. During the daytime of Brahma, they exhibit their activities, and at the coming of Brahma's night, they are annihilated. In the day, they receive various bodies from material activities, and at the night, these bodies perish. The Jiva's individual souls remain compact in the body of Vishnu again and manifest at the arrival of Brahma's day. When Brahma life is finally finished, they are all annihilated and remain unmanifest for millions and millions of years. Finally, when Brahma is born again in another millennium, they are again manifest. In this way, the Jivas are captivated by the material world. However, those intelligent beings who take to Krishna consciousness and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, in devotional service, transfer themselves even in this life to the spiritual planet of Krishna and become eternally blissful, they not being subject to such a rebirth. Text 19 translation. Again the day comes and this host of beings is active, and again the night falls, O Partha, and they are helplessly dissolved. Text 20 translation. Yet there is another nature which is eternal and transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. Krishna's superior spiritual energy is transcendental and eternal. It is beyond all the changes of material nature, which is manifest and annihilated during the days and nights of Brahma. Krishna's superior energy is completely opposite in quality of material nature. Superior and inferior nature are explained in the 7th chapter. Text 21 translation. The supreme abode is called unmanifested and inviolable, and it is the supreme destination. When one goes there, he never comes back. That is my supreme abode. The supreme abode of the personality of Godhead Krishna is described in Brahma Samhita and Chintamani Dhama, a place where all desires are fulfilled. The supreme abode of Lord Krishna, known as Goloka Vrindavana, is full of palaces made of touchstone. There are also trees which are called desire trees that supply any type of eatable upon demand, and there are cows known as Surabhi cows which supply limitless supply of milk. In this abode, the Lord is served by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortunes, Lakshmis, and he is called Govinda, the primeval Lord and the cause of all causes. The Lord is accustomed to blow his flute, Venam Kavantam. His transcendental form is the most attractive in all the worlds. His eyes are like the lotus petals, and the color of his body like clouds. He is so attractive that his beauty excels the thousands of cupids. He wears saffron cloth, a garland around his neck, and a peacock feather in his hair. In the Gita, Lord Krishna gives only a small hint of his personal abode, Goloka Vrindavana, which is the supermost planet in the spiritual kingdom. A vivid description is given in Brahma Samhita. Vedic literature state that there is nothing superior to the abode of Supreme Godhead, and that the abode is the ultimate destination. When one attains to it, he never returns to the material world. Krishna's supreme abode and Krishna himself are non-different, being of the same quality on this earth. Vrindavana, 90 miles southwest of Delhi, is a replica of that supreme Goloka Vrindavana located in the spiritual sky. When Krishna descended on this earth, he spotted on that particular tract of land known as Vrindavana in the district of Mathura, India. Which ends the translation and explanation of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita chapter 8 of text 21. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Keep listening.